What's up, folks? I'm Odd, by the way, and we are back with the fourth, I believe, installment of my little Pokemon series. So, if you're new, this is a basically kind of like a random draw meets like I guess like a character design challenge of sorts, right? So I have this bag full of like weird bootleg Pokemon that I'm going to draw from and then draw, but I'm going to be kind of inspired by slash just like influenced by the weirdness of their bootleggedness a little bit sometimes. Sometimes I just go for a relatively random, interesting animal trait that can exist in the real world, or maybe it's just like something relative to that Pokemon. You'll get the gist. There are 3 other videos that you can watch that might explain it a little bit better that you can see. But I am going to randomly draw 3 Pokemon from this little baggie. We will go from there and draw them. So our first selection... Hold on. Okay. Oh no, a bunch of them fell out. Okay, I'm still holding on to the one that I have. Alright, sorry about that. We got... this... Oh no. This messed up Spearow. Enhance! Oh, he's so goofy. Oh, what did they do to you, my child? Okay, so this is interesting. It's got like a Gen 2 color scheme vibes. There's only 2 colors on it. So, I'm not totally sure what I'm gonna do with this just yet, but yes. I actually forget what I called this one. I think I just called it Bird. Just Bird. Because it is just kind of a bird right now. Alright, so we got that. And next selection. Nope. A Sentret! Sent from hell! This is the Sentret with like red eyes. Enhance! I don't know why it has red eyes. It scares me. Okay. Very brown assortment today. And our last but not least form of Pokemon. Is this... I was gonna say this is very Gen 2, but... Ah! Mantyke. Enhance. It has a little smiley face in the back, too. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we got 2 browns and a blue. Very complimentary. So these are our 3 choices for today, and I have no clue what I'm going to do with them. I think that I know at least what the Sentret's vibe is going to be a little bit, because it's quite creepy with its red eyes and mouth. But as for the other 2, I don't totally know. This is definitely one of the more degraded sets of poor little bootleg Pokemon that I've gotten out of this selection insofar, not counting, never mind, they're all pretty bad. But this is definitely one of the selections of Pokemon of all time. Alright, so I'm gonna hop over to Speed Paint voiceover and explain my thoughts on these a little bit further once I actually figure out what to do with them. See you there. So I actually started out a little bit differently from my usual process here and went for posing all 3 of these little guys in the sketch first. I think it turned out way more dynamic and consistent this way. I did still go in and line and color them all separately though, so let's get into it. For the Spearow, I ultimately decided to go for a leucistic or blonde variation. Leucism is kind of similar to albinism, but it's more a partial lack of pigment, so a lot of like leucistic animals can have like darker colored eyes still. I decided to keep the red wings Spearow has for this instance, and gave her more of like a yellowish white head and white tail feathers, as well as a pink belly. The back area was also left black, the black color that it seems to be, at least in some like versions of the bird. It's like they're wearing a little vest. I don't think I've ever really looked into Spearow's design. I mean, obviously Pidgey's usually the choice of bird in Gen 1, but I do think that they look fun. I named her Cherry because the lighter colors bring out those red wings that are indicative to a Spearow. Overall, she gives me more tough and confident vibes. Probably a trainer's favorite Pokemon. Then we have our delightfully creepy little Sentret. I did wind up adjusting the pose here a little bit. Initially, I wanted it to be even more off to one side, but it didn't look right on the tail. I kind of figured an eccentric vibe for this would make sense, so I kind of wanted to be like a cocked to one side head, but it just didn't turn out that way. I decided to go with piebald, which is another form of partial pigmentation, but in this case, it's patches of completely lost pigment, similar to vitiligo. I thought it would be funny to have a little skull on the face area as well as keeping those red eyes. Now they make a little bit more sense given the loss of pigmentation around the face. I decided to name her Scully, a little nod to X-Files and also because her face looks like a skull. I'm sure she means well, but it is just a little weird. Maybe a ghost trainer's one solid normal type. I really like the contrast between the white and the black stripes and the ears. She also gives me like Galarian Zigzagoon vibes. Last up, we have Mantyke, not Mantine, which I might have said earlier, don't actually remember because I always get these two mixed up. This is in fact Mantyke though, which makes this assortment of Pokemon all first steps this week. Maybe at some point I, or maybe someone else, so I don't need to, can draw all of the first steps evolved. It would be fun to see how they would turn out in different phases. The pre-evolved forms of the partially or fully evolved Pokemon might be fun too. For this design, I was having a moment trying to figure out what exactly I wanted to do, and I looked up rays, which are quite obviously what this line is based on, specifically the Manta Ray, which is where the man part of it comes in. And I realized that there are a bunch of subspecies of ray. So I decided to go a different route for the variation and instead made this another species of Mantyke. This design was inspired by the blue spotted ray, which has a yellow undertone and, of course, the blue spots. I tried to make sure to position the pose so that we could see each face of the Mantyke, and I made the little eyes blue instead of red. I thought that was cute. The whole thing just gave me banana vibes, sorta, so I decided to name this little guy just that. Simple, but adorable. Maybe he and Cherry are on a whole, like, fruit or banana split themed team. But that was this episode's group of Pokemon. This was definitely one of the faster and smoother drawings of this series. It helped figuring out all the poses beforehand, and all of these being relatively squishy and minimal designs. I think the most complicated of the three really was Cherry, and that was mainly just figuring out the pose and the wings. Let me know what you think of these guys in the comments, and subscribe for a bunch of other fun art challenges alongside this series, because I definitely still have more of these bootleg Pokemon figurines. At that though, I'm gonna leave this here, and I'll see y'all next time.